So, good morning. This is the so-called morning after the night before. I'm in the middle of what used to be called a bike show. And talk about tame. Used to have people recovering from the night before, but instead of all the madmen, we just got like kids and cats, and it just ain't no good. I've been coming to these shows for years. This particular show has been going for 35 years, and it used to be crazy apeshit. And it's just mad. It used to be mad, but now it's well, look around me. It's more like an old people's home. I mean, I'm old, don't get me wrong, but I have still got life, which is why I come along to these different events. But it's just not very good. Last year I was here, we had the Viking ladies, and someone was getting married in the Viking style. So they had their sort of hen night here, and it was all good fun. And so I'm just walking around. You can pretty much see what I can see. Originally, when I come to this show, it would be around 1,000 people or more. I think here it's probably less than 100. It's only a 200 show, 200 people, but usually it's a little bit more lively. Last year, I came back to this show for the first time in probably 8 years or something, and it was good. But I think it was probably a fluke, because this is not. It's mainly sort of what they call jelly mould bikes, whereas before you used to have sort of rat bikes, custom bikes, choppers. But I don't know, these are more like, don't know, what's a modern car? Show my age. These are as dull as Nissan Micras. It's just very generic, dull and boring. I didn't really want to say it, but the way it is. But used to be, arrive here on a Friday with probably a crate of beer in your back of your bike, panniers or whatever, and maybe a hot chick. They don't exist here anymore. So you crack open one, bung your tent up, and straight to the bar. And then the night has begun. So Friday was all about going for it and getting nuts. And you'd carry on, do the same thing on Saturday. Sensible people would slow it down, because obviously you got to ride home on the Sunday. But I was hoping to come along to a few of these and just show you what's going on. But it's like, there's a serious lack of anything going on. And it's a shame. I don't think it's fair if I say where this show is, because I don't think this video is likely to bring you along to it. It's in Berkshire, I'll give you a clue. But no, I think it'll be our last visit here, should I say. So, if I find anything else interesting, there you go. Turn around. There you go, that's interesting. It's a big black sperm flag. And, go! Any more? I will come back to you. Goodbye. So as part of my impossible search for a decent looking bike, I found this one. Brilliant, really nice. Very nice. see if I can find some more. There must be some here, but I wouldn't count on it. So this sort of bike is known as a tart window box. There's nothing more you can really say about that. It's in the name. Hi, I'm back home now. The show that I started to video and was walking around looking lost, I have left because it was a bit boring. I got there on the Friday and pretty much left Saturday early doors. It was still going on. It would finish on the Sunday, but I got bored, so I thought rather than just remain, I'd come home and finish the video I started. So here I am. Previously, it would have been party on all weekend, as in party, but no more it seems. Yeah, the bar would have been packed. The beer tent would have been packed full of beer, packed full of people, all having a jolly good time. And it is really sadly changed. And that's a kind of a late show. Usually I would start events early in the year, but so many of them are folding, giving up, throwing in the towel. So yeah, it's just another victim of that kind of idea. It's just coming to an end. So yeah, no more fields full of bikes, full of tents, full of people having fun and a good old chuckle. As I said, now it's just silence. So I had Billy with me and I was walking him around. He's a bit of a lively dog, and even he was very bored, and if he could talk, he would have said, come on, we can do better than this. So yeah, as I say, it's a sad day, but you know, there's a lot of reasons for it. Obviously, cost of living, we all know, and people just haven't got the money. So it's yeah, while I was wandering around and debating whether or not to have another beer, because I was thinking I might be leaving, I just sat and watched for a bit, and there really wasn't nothing. People were all just in their tents, the sort of beer tent come party tent, massive marquee, sort of 100-foot long or something like that. So kids, you'd have the band one end, the bar the other, seats everywhere, seats inside, seats outside, and the rest of it. And instead of that, there was no one really at the bar, and the band were kind of playing to themselves. Me and Billy stood there for a little while, but I thought that was a bit of an insult. And as well as that, spanning around, because the way they're built, it's like in a ring, a horseshoe at bike shows and a lot of events. And so you've got stalls, you've got food vendors, coffee shops, you know, you've got a bit of everything going on, and the marquee and all the rest of it, the other, and then tents all on the outside of that circle. But as I was sort of taking in the vibe or not vibe of what was going on, so the bar was empty, they were serving no one. Then you had two different types of food vendor, they were just doing nothing. You had a tattooist, nothing. You had quite a few stalls, about 10 stalls, 12 stalls. Everyone was just twiddling their thumbs. Obviously, everyone involved there has gone along their businesses to make money, but no one's there, no one's buying, so they're just literally, oh God, you know, I'll stand here for a bit, I'll lean there now, you know, that kind of thing. Quite embarrassing if you're in business and you've got no customers, and you've travelled from the north of England to the south and various other parts, and and as I say, it had no atmosphere. So I just don't know. I don't know what's happening. In defence of the show that I've just been to, I'm expecting to find similar, regardless of events, theme, whatever it is. Just to the general lack of money and the sheer dire straits that this country finds itself in due to this bad management. But unfortunately, that isn't going to get any better soon. So I am trying to find other interesting events to go to, which I've just booked up one. It's not till October, but I'm curious to see how that goes. Again, my expectations aren't very high. But I've noticed that almost regardless of the size of the event, large or small, they're just ending. They can't afford to go on. And because I speak to a lot of different people that go to events and trade at events, it's just they cancel at the very last minute because they're hopeful that they're gonna, sell loads and loads of tickets, but it's just not happening. I mean, a lot of the things that affect these shows and events as well. I mean, obviously this summer has been super hot, and so people think, God, do I want to go and sit in the middle of a field for a weekend and swelter, no shade? You can sit in the beer tent and then just end up in a state. But people think a lot more about it when they got less money. So I mean, I'm sitting here at the moment in the back of my micro camper. I've just turned the fan off because it was making not a good noise through the microphone, which I'm using to speak to you. And I've now shut my windows as well. So the temperature is... I've got to put a vent in the roof, an electric vent to suck out the heat and anything else that needs sucking out. But that's another story. So I'll go back to it. Kind of pre-COVID. All the different types of event that I went to were all really good fun. I had a great time. And in particular, from sort of early days when I was a motorcycle courier in London, I would maybe knock off a little bit early and pick up my girlie and maybe a few other bits, sleeping bag, tent if we're feeling adventurous, never know. But you'd just head straight to the show, the event, wherever it was, and pick up a few beers or whatever on the way, so they're nice and cool. So when you get there, as soon as you turn the engine off, crack open a beer, and the party has begun. And so if you're feeling adventurous, as you put in your you'd think about putting your tent up, but that wasn't always a situation. I mean, you might have a beer in one hand and you'd be thinking, right, I'm going to put that tent up, but it never actually happened because you knew that you could always just in the marquee, massive marquee I was saying about earlier, you'd have haystacks all around the outside of it, and you got your band, like I said, one end, music going on. You'd have poles in the middle of it, greased up. People would be climbing up these greasy poles if they're feeling adventurous. Occasionally, you might get a dry pole, and then you'd have one on one on another, and you try and climb up it as soon as possible. Whoever wins get a beer, and so yeah, that was all good fun. And if you did overdo it, I'm sort of cutting to the chase, but if you did overdo it and you just flaked out, you could always sleep on one of the hay bales. And once music's still going, you're having a great time, and yeah, you were safe. No one was going to give you any trouble, and it's I miss it. I must say, I miss it. Getting long in the tooth now, admittedly, but I've got one show. All the shows that I was going to go to, I've decided not to. So I've got one. I've been to one bike show this year. I used to go to about 4 every month, and there's one that I went to last year, and it's like an old-fashioned bike show, as in loads of people. They'd have a beer festival at the actual show. They do their own catering. It was really good food. Yeah, I got myself into some situations like that. But again, no problem, because you're in safe hands. You got marshals all around, and the actual club members would be the security. That's another problem. I mean, they still do their own security, but I'm sure they've all done the SIA course, so they can do that. They've got a license to do it, because a lot of the shows I know cancelled as well due to the cost of having security for like 3 days, and it was quite a high number of security. Obviously, the more you have at the show, the more it's going to cost you in security, whereas they would do their own security ordinarily, but they didn't have any badges to do that, I presume. And so yeah, another show cancelled. It used to be for 3 days, then they cancelled it. Well, they knocked it down to 2, and then it became a saying they went down to 1, and that was it. No one bothered after that. It's just, they thought, no, it's just crazy. It's not worth doing. So yeah, that used to be a lovely country pub. Another good thing about these shows, all the money that's generated would go to a charity. And I was speaking to one of the guys, I'm not going to mention clubs, but quite a well-known club, been going for a long time in the Suffolk area, and they donated, in the years that they were doing it, tens of thousands in charity. That show was almost cancelled. It's moved, but again, a lot of the shows, you cancel these shows, so the money in charity will never be raised. And it was for cancer relief, it was for blind, deaf, whatever whatever you can think of, and cash prizes as well. Motorbikes, they would be a prize, and so that would draw lots of people in, and lots of really nice custom bikes. But yeah, so another one in Cambridgeshire, it's a 1-day show, and they used to have a flyover from a Spitfire, and a Lancaster bomber would fly over and dip the wings as they went and come down really low. And they would have about, as I say, bear in mind it's a day show. It used to start about 10, finishes about 5, and then it would carry on into the pub later on. But they would shut down the whole village because they would get involved, and so all the restaurants surrounding the village would do well. All the supermarkets, everything that was around there would do well, because the pub was a small country pub. They couldn't cater for everyone, so the surrounding area, say being a village, all done really well out of it. But after COVID, I was talking about pre-COVID, but after COVID, that show was going for 10 years, by the way. But after COVID, I said, no, this is the last one. There's just too much red tape, too much paperwork, too much this, too much that. Not doing it. Gave it up. That was it. The pub offered to take it over, which they did for 1 year. And it carried on with the guys supporting it. But the pub realised how much tape and insurances had just tripled, or who knows, I don't know about that side of it, but just not good. So yeah, so that ended. So the amount of that money that generated as well, it doesn't generate any money. The village is not making on that one day, God knows how much they made. But that is the big shame of what is going on. Where will it end? Meanwhile, back at the yards. Hi again. I'm back. I had to take a break because I was just too hot in the back of this micro camper. And so I had a nice cold shower and an icy beer, ice cold. And I feel so much better after that. I feel refreshed. So now I shall continue with the story. Whilst watching the bands, Fire Breathers, Chainsaw Charlies, wet t-shirt competitions, wet Y-front competitions, Chainsaw Charlies, I would say again, comedy shows, and the silly games. I'll go into more detail about the silly games now, I think. I was going to do it later, but I'll do it now. So, silly games, that was all of that encompassed, and there's a lot more. There's like tug of war, there's all sorts of oddness, and I'll go into that more so. But another part of it was the rally virgins. It doesn't sound as dodgy as it actually is, or shall I say that the other way around? Well, anyway, a rally virgin was literally someone that had never been to a bike rally before. So their friends would bring them along that had been, wouldn't say a word to them. And then the word would go out and they would rope in all these rally virgins. Maybe some days it'd just be 3, other days you might have 12. And they get them to do all these dodgy things. And they cover them in all sorts of stuff. So they're sort of almost like a tarred and feather type thing. And, you know, they stink. So it's, yeah, crazy. It's, yeah, so they might have custard literally drop down their trousers or things slapped in their knickers, bras, whatever. And be paraded around like a chain gang and left, especially on a hot day, to soak up the sun and the stench and, you know, walk around looking like that. In the end, they got used to it, but you always had a tap or a hose, so they'd all be hosed off and probably get lots and lots of beer for being, you know, monkeys of the day. But anyway, so the other thing would happen, at the end of all that, you would finish off with a rock DJ, another band, then a rock DJ, and you basically do that until you drop. Then comes Saturday morning. Headaches and hangovers abound. And so it begins, the familiar sound of the dawn chorus of heavy men snoring and belching. Time to get up and crack open a beer. This sounds like poetry. Or should I say a beer for breakfast and start the day. So what follows beer and starting the day? Ultra loud music, annoy everyone, or no, that's unfair. Encourage other people to start their day too. To get on up. The morning smells of a bike show are mainly that of bacon, which helps disguise any lingering smells from the portaloos. Ha ha! And so it begins. Liquid lunch. Lots of good rallies have a beer festival specialising in ales, or cider if you're feeling fruity, or have no caution whatsoever, because cider, I don't drink cider, it turns me red. And everyone was most concerned last time, but I think it was that rough cider somewhere in Somerset, Dorset, around that way. Yeah, so also, if you got the stomach for it, there's also alcohol flavored water in the form of spirit, obviously. So more entertainment ensues. I got it right. I went ensues? Is that a word? It is. Anyway, so kicking off with the silly games. And usually there's always one called Dizzy Sticks. You might be able to guess this one. You have a distance of maybe 30, 40 meters, depends how cruel they want to be. One end you've got a stick, the other end you've got a baton. And you have two people play, but there's teams. So again, some people are nice, clean, and not had a single drink. Others maybe have had the odd sherbet. And so the whistle would go. And these are bikers, so they all got levers on and all sorts of stuff. They haven't yet taken it off. Might not have played that game before. And so the whistle goes, and you run from one end to the other. So you got one person here, one person there. You run there, and you got a stick, and you put your head on the top of that stick, and you spin around several times, and then the whistle goes again, and then you swap. You run, so you're both doing that at each end, and you got teams of people, and you just you keep doing it until you just can't do it anymore, and you have to do it to get the feel of it. And I've done it a few times, and you end up, you're spinning around and you just spin out and fall over and whatever. But you got the whole of the crowd of the people at the bike show all enjoying your discomfort and general dizziness. Obviously you had the Yard of Ale competition again. That's pretty self-explanatory. Sometimes it wouldn't be ale, it would be cider. And sometimes you'd have the quarter yard. And that would often be a mixture of devilment, spirits, beer, milk, chili. Who knows what they put in there. But yeah, very sadistic. And then axe the nail. So you'd have nails, you'd have a tree stump with nails, different nails, and you got the heads obviously knocked in. And so you got a hatchet, and you just take turns. You're trying to knock a nail in, your designated nail, and in with the end of this axe. Dum, 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 dum. And again, you do that until you win. But it's funny, again, you got to be there. It's just ridiculous because you got all these mixture of people, some in fancy dressed as, I don't know what, just generally all sorts. Then you had cider apple bobbing, which as much as I'd love to, I couldn't do that because I said the red thing, not good. Motorcycle outfit, I can't speak. Motorcycle outfit jousting. So again, you'd have a sponge on the front of your outfit, sidecar if you like, but it's an outfit, nailed to a board, and you'd have a jousting stick, which is generally just a big, you're not aiming for the person riding, so you got the rider and then you got the guy, girl in the actual sidecar outfit, and you just backwards and forwards, and you got to try and hit the sponge and knock it off. It's full of liquids and all sorts. And again, you got to remember this went on, and I played that as well, and that was good. That was good fun. It's something you got to have a go at. Not being able to do the real jousting on a horse, you get to do it on an iron horse. And yeah, you'd have teams of people, you'd swap over. Some could barely ride, let alone joust. And yeah, all sorts of stuff like that. Engine block throwing. So as it sounds, you got an engine block, and you got to throw it as far as you can. And you know, you'd have several people doing that, and that's how that would be. You'd have raffles, which I spoke of earlier, going through the day and the night, and cash prizes, beer prizes, spirits, whatever. Motorbikes again, all of that fun stuff. Axe throwing, which was nice. Sometimes it was just a hatchet, and I always thought that was a bit of a cheat. But quite often you get the full axe, or you get the double axe, which was far more fun, because you got to remember there's all these people, and they're all like having a few beers, and it's so it's just like everything's heightened. The hilarity is just, oh no, they missed, and you know, it's just fun. So that was another one. There's some that are a bit X-rated, which I won't say, but in another one, I'll tell you another. It was fun, not X-rated. It's just I arrived at a show in Kent, and it's quite an early show for me in my youth, and well, not youth, 20s, I guess, late 20s. So arrived there, and just girlfriend with me, and she had been there once before, so she had an idea what to expect. And pulling up towards where to camp, and you got these guys riding bikes, and their pillions were facing the other way. So you got the rider facing that way and the pillion facing that way, which was usually a half naked lady, and definitely topless. Again, you had teams of people, and all of these things, there's always prizes for it, which is, it encourages volunteers, victims, I don't know what you want to call them. And that was called the sausage game, because you'd have another guy with a stick with a bit of string and a sausage on it, and these girls, the guy riding the bike would drive nice and slowly, and just, you know, stroke the engine so you're not going too fast, and the guy with the stick would try and walk along in time, and he's dangling this sausage, and obviously the girl's sort of giving it all that and trying to bite the end of the sausage off. And there were stages of winning. If you were the only one to bite the end off the sausage, it's not like I watched this too many times, but if you're the only one, then you won. But the idea you'd go up the length of the sausage, now it's starting to sound a little bit dodgy, I know, but it was all done in the best possible taste, as Kenny would say. And yeah, so if you managed to, you know, go up the whole shaft length of the sausage, and well, you won big then. But don't know what, but that's what I was told. So yeah, that was another fun game. I'm trying to think what's next. If you won any of these games, competitions, your prize would ordinarily be more beer, bottles of this, bottles of that, cash prizes. Depended pretty much on the bike show. But yeah, there was some good stuff there. Very good stuff. Do you like my t-shirt? There you go. Motley Crue. Great t-shirt. Rubbish band. Can't stand them. Call himself a band. Oh, awful. Anyway, next up would be the bike show. And again, you'd have cash prizes. People would travel hundreds of miles. They may have spent a year customizing, sorting out their bike, you know, super fast, all sorts of, just the whole variety. And you'd have choppers, you'd have street fighters, custom paint, best engineering, what else? Rat bikes, big fan of rat bikes when I was a courier, keep saying that. I had a rat bike, FZ 750, and I mixed paint with latex, so it was rubberized, and it was black, obviously, and mixed it up, and I roller painted my bike, the tank. Didn't touch the exhaust, obviously, but you know, it had a half fairing on it as well because it was quite a big bike, and a rear seat cowl. And I think I had a picture of Tank Girl on the tank, just beside my crutch, and I had something else that I can't talk about on the other side. And I drew a picture of my girlfriend's lips, and then I painted that on the very front of my tank that used to keep me warm in the winter. And yeah, and the bike was called Squeal Like a Pig from that brilliant film Southern Comfort, I think. And yeah, I digress. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, best paint job, I said that. You had trikes there, you had furthest traveled bike in sometimes, you know, 500-600, crazy. But yeah, so again, it would, yeah, the whole crowd would sort of be watching that. The judging would be going on. I found that a bit annoying because you know, you've seen all these bikes, they're all there in front of you, and then they like go off and judge it, and you've got to come back. But hardly anyone did. Well, I didn't anyway, because there was other entertainment going on. So, you know, what you're going to do. But so, I mean, jelly molds that I spoke of at the beginning, the very beginning of this video. Jelly molds, cutters, jelly molds, cookie cutters. I haven't been drinking, by the way. I just lose tact. I need to drink water, I think. They're just straight out of a shop, dealership, or straight out of the box. So some, you know, now years later, people actually put those into competitions. And I mean, they're not customized. They've not been altered. It's not fair, and it should not be allowed. So that would all occur, and so everyone applauding. The bikes would go across the stage quite often, making as much noise as possible, and yeah, so you could see a really good variety of bikes, and you just don't see that anymore. There used to be another show. They stopped. You know, I don't know what's going on, but there isn't that creativity. There aren't that many bikers left, and that's the way it goes, basically. And so anyway, after that, applause are done, and then it's basically party on again. So and you get all the evening entertainment, which I spoke about earlier on. So you'd have bands, comedy acts, and on occasion strip shows. And that wasn't just females, it's males as well. So equal opportunity bike shows. That's how bikers are, you know, bit of variety. Everyone's having a laugh. Some might end up crying, but of embarrassment usually, and that'd be the guy on the stage. You know, it's a bit of a cold day or whatever. But yeah, you kind of, you think, well, what are you going to do? So whilst the beer keeps flowing, you had trade stalls to look at. You know, so you take a break from the strippers and the bar, and you have a wander around. So you got different trade stalls, and you had a lot of variety in that. A lot of people made all their own designs, whether that would be leather jackets with illustrated designs or leather work on it, belts. You know, you'd have clothing, jewelry, pretty much everything. But a lot of it was made by the stall holders, and so you would find truly original things. But as again time moves on, and probably everything's made in China now, and it's just straight over on a boat, and so you'll get stalls. Oh, he's doing well, they're selling well, and in the end, everyone's selling the same stuff, and it doesn't make sense. But I've seen it all. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else to say. The variety was good. It was very good. But Yeah, I'm smiling because I'm just thinking back to it, and it was a real good time. A few shows had a 24-hour bar, and so you needed quite a lot of stamina if you were going to partake in that. I only know of one in the whole of the country now that has a truly 24-hour bar for the whole 3 days that it's on. Some of those are on for 4 days. So, obviously the club that's running it are having shifts to cope with it. And a lot of those were the ones that tended to have a beer festival. So it would be like the local brewery would supply all the ales and the everything that you needed, anything and everything you needed. They had it. So, that's it. I know of one. Ask me in the comments if you're curious, because for me, it's the only bike show that I'm doing, unless I find something interesting and good again. But this is the only one, and so if you want to know that one, it's kind of in my mind, is the last one standing. You got stuff further up north, but they're way more commercial. This is a proper bike club. That sounds really bad, and I'll probably get some very ugly comments, but bring it on. I don't mind. Anyway, once you've had your fill of the bar, it's time to sleep whilst you can, because next comes Sunday, and that's the new dawn chorus of throbbing engines with equally throbbing headaches. So get up, pack up, and ride. So when I was figuring out this video, I was there's so many things, so many stories I could tell you, and I will. If there's any interest in this video, I will do that, because I've been a rider all of my life. I only got into four wheels really when I needed it for a job, but I always had bikes. So I think I had like a camper van, was one of the first four-wheeled vehicles I had, and so again, you could do a lot with that. You could fit a bike in the back of it as well, because that was the way I built it. But I think when I had that camper van, I had that for a while. It was a Bedford CF2, terrible. But so I sold that, and I got a VW camper van, which was is a bay window 1972, left hooker, left-hand drive, and it was pea green and birdshit blue. I don't know if that's the right term. And Guy couldn't be bothered to fix it. He'd had it for ages, and he saw me sorting out my previous vehicle, which I said I sold, and he sold it to me for 150 quid. He said it hasn't moved for about 2 years. He said it was a project. Everything's in the back. It's just a case of you doing it. So the doors were, almost hanging off. One of the windows was plated up, had metal in it, so he had to bash that out. And we managed to get it running, well, don't know, in half an hour. And I only had to drive it from Bow to sort of Stratford area. And because it hadn't been driven for so long, all the muck that had gone in the vents at the back, if you know about Volkswagen campers, was boom, just blew out, and just all this smoke. And so we got back pretty quick to where it needed to be. Just, I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, so we got there as quickly as we could, and we didn't get stopped, luckily. And there were lots of police around then. Whereas now, but I guess you got cameras, so you would have seen this vehicle looking like it was on fire. But anyway, so I digress. I sold it to a family for a decent price, a low price, because I know that same vehicle now, even in the state it was in, would cost you thousands of pounds, because we live in a stupid world now. But yeah, so I've gone right off topic, haven't I? So anyway, this was a sad video to make. Blah 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 blah. Bikes, campers. So I've been to all these events, gatherings, meetups of all types, and just coming to an end either through restrictions or lack of interest, lack of money, and an aging population. Aging population in that scene, because young people don't move into any scene because they got they got that. But I mean, their arms are going to get shorter and shorter, their bodies are going to get fatter and fatter, their legs are going to get shorter, and their heads are going to get like that, and everything's going to disappear. I think that is it's not Family Guy, it's the other one. You know, the alien in that other one, American Dad. Yeah, that's the future of our civilization is. But I'll be long gone, and maybe you'll be long gone, maybe not. But anyway, so that's my feeling on that, and I stand by it. So well done. If you're still here, well done. So to sum up, this channel, as you know, I hope you know, is called Filling the Void. And previously, that would have been a hell of a lot easier to do, for me in particular. But now, it's more of a struggle, because I'm looking for interesting events, because part of the description of my channel was that I'd be going here, I'd be going there. I'm still trying to do that. I still want to do that for you, but I thought I knew the places and the different shows and things that were on. But sadly, so many of those, as I've said previously, are in the wind. They've just gone. So I was lucky to live it, but you know, new generations, well, they didn't, and they won't. It seems that so much of what I see on social media is just faked and baited. And that, in my opinion, it should not be acceptable. What's wrong with being honest and real? I was in a pub, first time I heard that term, because I'm not from that term. I was in this sort of trendy, sort of ex-student pub, and sat there with my girlfriend at the time, and they overheard our conversation, and these guys walked over us and bought us a drink each, and said, "Oh, there you go." And I thought it was a bit odd. I mean, it's nice. That does happen, and it is nice. It's happened a few times. And yeah, a young guy, you know, don't know. Yeah. Anyway, say ex-student, graduate, amongst the rest of the people that run the pub. They'd all looked for work, promised jobs and this, that and the other. Couldn't get anything after spending all those years in university and all the rest of it. So they clubbed together and sorted a pub out between them. So anyway, the guys walked over, he said that, and said, "There you go, blah, blah, blah." And I said, I'm going around in circles now, sorry. I said to him, "So what's that for then? What have you done?" He said, "Oh, you're so real." And said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Oh, you two, you're just so real." And I went, "Oh, thanks, cheers." I didn't want to embarrass myself by pressuring him. He just bought me a drink. And so I said to the girlfriend. I said, what's that all about? He said, he said, you're just talking, you're not speaking in. Oh, I get you. You need this. And, you know, slogans, people talking slogans now, don't they? And a lot of these TV channels that I don't watch, as soon as I hear that, I just turn it off. So that's what he was talking about. And yeah. So be real. So that's what I was saying. So there's no need. People like honesty. Now, I think when you lie to people, most people can see through it. You know, look at their eyes or look at the tone of their skin when they tell you a big pile of old dung. So yeah, it's not a good thing. Should not be acceptable. So I hope in some way I've given you some food for thought. And yeah, let me know in the comments. As I said previously, good, bad, ugly, stinky, you know, let me know. And I know this has been a long video, I don't know how long, but earlier on it was blazing and I took my shower, ice cold beer, as I said. I don't know if you can hear now if I remain silent. It's raining, and there's nothing like rain on top of your micro camper. So yeah, what a change in weather. Goes from, I mean, it's still warm in here, but it's doable, you know. I'm quite comfortable. The windows are all shut, I haven't got the fan on. Yeah, so it's good. So anyway, as I say, if you would, please subscribe. It's been nice talking to you. I really appreciate the returns that I get. So have a good day, good evening, good morning, good night. Bye.